They just learned how to make strawberries. How would you look 40 years?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Paul and Pals podcast is brought to you by staying positive and never giving up.
Bye.
Here's your host, Paul, with Mr. William and Len Dukes.
So, gentlemen, while we were all on our break, a movie that we were talking about came out. I see the smiles. I see the I see it coming. I hated it. I see it coming. I had 2 snaps, a blue pill and a twist. Yeah. So I got my things out of it. You got your things out of it. I know you guys didn't like it. Len, you were putting the teaser out there like, nah, I was talking about it, but you didn't like it.
No, I did not. I did not. And it's a shame too, because I'm sure you both know how much I love that movie. How much I love the franchise. I dedicated my tattoos because I fucking saw that movie hit me so hard to get certain tattoos. Do you want me to just go right into it, or you want to start? Or
No. I see. So I want you guys to go first or second. Len, you're jumping in the air off your chair.
I can wait.
No. You're gonna set it off. Me, I have a different view. Of it. But before I go into mine, then I'll let the nays go first, and I'll tell you why I liked it. So, Len.
All right. So if I had to give it an overall score, I'll start with that. I'm gonna give it a 3. Okay.
Out of what?
Out of 7 million. No, out of 10. Out of 10.
3 out of 10. Okay.
Out of 10. Okay. There were some nostalgic vibes that I got from it, which was amazing. Damn, I missed that whole vibe of the movie, or the whole vibe of the franchise. But then when it actually came to trying to execute that, I think they fucking failed miserably, man. It feels like they had an original budget, and then maybe 2 days after shooting, they realized we only have enough for money for 2 more days of shooting. We got to figure out how we're going to fill this all in, because it didn't even look Matrixy. The Matrix had a certain a green tintish hue over the visuals when you're looking at it, when you're in the Matrix world and when you were out of, there's a difference in that. This movie didn't have that. The storyline, even though the first one people could say was confusing, which it was, it just didn't make sense to me. All right, what was the ending result of what happened? 3, just the writing was bad, man. There was no special effects. It just came off really cheap. Trinity is hanging in the air. You can clearly get the vibe that she's fucking hanging from a scaffold that they fucking green screened or some shit like that. All of a sudden she's flying now. They're trying to make it woman centric, which making her the one, but he couldn't fly. But then at the end of the movie, they both could fly at the same time or some shit like that. I don't know, man. It was just a horrible job to me. It was just a horrible job, man.
I heard Trinity did her own stunts, so she was actually flying. No cords or anything like that. Yeah,
but you could tell that she was harnessed in. Even in the other Matrix movies, you couldn't tell. It was hard for you to really tell if somebody was in a harness suit getting bashed against the wall, the train scene at the with Neo. They were obviously in harnesses and shit like that, but it didn't look like that. I just felt like the studio was you know what? We were going to do it, but now we want sci-fi to take over, and they're going to do it on the local cable network. They're going to run it, and not us. They didn't have any kind of major backing behind it.
Is that it?
I can keep on going. I'm forgetting some stuff, but just go ahead after that.
If you remember, bring it over here.
Yeah.
Mr. William.
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. One more thing. Wait. One more thing. My bad. Now, did you watch the video I sent you guys in regards to that video game Unreal Engine?
Yeah, Unreal Engine. Yeah.
That fucking video, that 5-minute thing was better than the whole Matrix movie.
Wow.
It was better than the whole Matrix movie. The whole Matrix movie, the whole car scene in that city or that world where they were just trying to demonstrate like the power of the Unreal Engine that they're planning to use like in future games.
Yeah.
That right there, better than the whole movie. Better than the whole movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I'm sorry,
Mr. William, 0 out of 10.
So for me, surprisingly, Len hates it more than I do. There were certain aspects I did like the whole dialogue between him and Doogie Howser, the therapist. Yo, I was loving that whole dialogue there. The first, I mean, it was kind of hard to watch the first 20 minutes, like with him going into the coffee shop, the workplace, Trinity, all of that. I was just like, they should have found a better way to do it, or just scrapped it altogether. Because already that sets kind of a tone for me. Because I was just like, oh boy, here we go.
You see the love story version. You see the love story version of it, and you didn't want to hear about that shit.
Yep. And then what made it worse was like, oh, I saw that the sister of the Wachowski brothers directed it. So I was like, oh, now it makes sense. I'm like, typical. It was like, I remember there was a show I used to watch, and it was just like, you know, an awesome show. I forget what show it was. And then all of a sudden, one season, it was like this guy's going with this guy, like a whole bunch of like drama, soap opera relationship thing. And I'm just like, why? What's going on? And then when I read, it was like they brought in some like woman writer. And I was like, oh, okay, now this all makes sense. Here we go with the soap opera crap. So I'm like, is it to say that when we bring in women writers now, that's all they have to offer? Like, can that be switched up or something? Like, can we cancel that?
Out of everything that they cancel, can they cancel that?
Unfortunately, no, because that was a cancel urge. So
that's a hard no, Will.
Yeah, I want it to be a yes, but that's going to be just a hard no.
No.
But overall, if I had to give it a score, I would give it, I would say 6 or 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Can I add one more thing? My bad.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I will say this, that the original 3 Matrixes, I saw each of them 3 times in the theater. Like, I've never done that with any other movie.
Exactly.
3 times each in the theater. With this one, I probably won't even watch it a second time.
And like the big fight scene, that whole area where they fought, it was just like, in somebody's basement or some shit like that. It felt like an old gym. I'm like, is this the best they could fucking... And all right, he's fighting people. Did he fight anybody? He fucking Star Wars force pushed everything. Everything was like, oh, I'm going to force push you away. I'm going to push you away. I'm going to push that away. The whole scene where they're riding on the bicycles or on the bicycles, the motorcycles. Let me fix that. But yeah, that whole scene where they're like trying to get away and like basically, oh man, it was just so disappointing, man. But yeah, I didn't like that whole soundstage setup that they used for the fight scene. They weren't even fighting. They were just fucking grappling each other.
Yeah. It's more grappling. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Definitely disappointed. But I love the dialogue with the therapist. I was just like, yo, this shit right here, I'm digging.
All right. I'm glad you said that, Will. All right. So if you're saying 6.5 out of 10, and I thought I did think that whatever Len gave it, I thought you were going to give it like another that minus like 15,
I thought so
20.
Too, yeah.
So I thought you were going to say, all right, if Len gave it a 3, I'm giving it a negative 4,200. So if you're giving it a 6.5 out of 10, by what you're giving it, I'd have to give it a 7.5. Do I think it's better than the first one? Absolutely not. The first one goes down as one of the greatest movies ever made, period. Do I think it's better than the second one? Probably not. Do I think it's better than the third one? Maybe. Not sure. Maybe. I'd have to see the third one again and go back and see the fourth one again, and then I'll have a better decision. I think for what it was, see, I think this was the problem. And I think this was your problem, Len. I think you compared it to the other ones, whereas just taking it for what it was.
But my thing with that, I mean, there's a little bit of that, don't get me wrong, but even just like the visuals, just the visuals. I mean, like, if we're going back to the Matrix, shouldn't it look like the Matrix?
So that goes into one of my points. I think for a 2012, and when was the last one made? About like 10 years ago?
No, more than that.
More than that? No, yeah. Third one? Yeah, definitely more than that. So to go back to the Matrix like 20 years later, going with, this is why I actually do like it, because it's as up to date as you can be. When the original Matrix came out, it was for that time, and it put everything in that time frame. Being in 2022, at that, 2021, December, whenever it came out, I think it followed with the technology. The green tint wasn't there because everything upgraded. They have agents, but now they use people as quote unquote bots because everything upgraded. Things got changed, and the architect is gone. Doogie took it over. He's the analyst. Doogie was the new regime, the new time, the new era. And everything changed based off of the first three movies. They upgraded software. They did everything in the Matrix to change it. So to me, it's like the first Matrix was. It was a snapshot into this world that we live in today. If you break it down, when I broke it down, from what you're saying, just looking at it, the eye test, Len, it's a downgrade because of the fighting scenes, because of the visuals, because of everything you said. There's truth to what you said. If you look at it from, and this is why I say you can't really, if you're a basketball player, all right, you compare yourself to MJ because that's a goal you want to set to be. If you're a rapper, you compare yourself to, whatever the highest, I'll say Eminem because I think he's incredible. If you're a rapper, you go to be the best. So you have to compare yourself to the people that you think are the best. When it comes to TV shows, movies, music albums, things like that, even if it's a sequel, you have to take it for that piece of artwork, for that thing that it is at that time. If I sat there and said, all right, compared to the other Matrixes, this is a piece of shit because it's so different. It's not like how the Matrix was. There's truth to that. If you take it for what it is and then break it down, I like to break things down. I'm not saying I'm a smart guy. I'm not saying nothing like that. I just like to dig deeper than what it is. I think it was a perfect snapshot of this world we live in. So Neo, he's now a maker of a game, and they want to make number 4. And when Neo is brainstorming with the production crew of how they said it. Nobody wants to hear about. Nobody wants to be confused by the movie of what was going on. What's this? What's this? We need bullet time. We need gunshots. We need this. It's like, ooh, like I took something off of that I was like, ooh, you know what? Kind of where we're at as a people. Yeah. Nobody wants to do the deep thinking anymore. We just want to be looking at the screen, watching shit explode and all this other stuff. Like they had a little sneaky shit that I was like, ooh, you know what? I'm rocking with you on that. You gonna say something?
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Keep on going. You're good. It'll come back.
I would say also you could apply that to the music nowadays. Nobody wants to do a lot of thinking. They just want to hear that beat and ABC 1 2 3 rhymes, and that's it. It's not like back in the 90s. You heard a deep Nas or a deep J or whatever. People ain't trying to hear that these days.
They broke down in those scenes the dumbing down of where we're at.
Yeah.
To the point that, we can't make a Matrix like we made it. It's going to go over everybody's head. Nobody wants to see that shit. Nobody wants to think about anything. We just want bullet time. Like they were making fun of their own shit and making fun of Hollywood and showing what the world was a triple entendre. And they were just going like, this is it. And they said it. They said there was another part where Neo finally gets brought to the new Zion. I forgot what they called it. It wasn't Zion anymore, but the real world home base. And they're talking to Neo, and she's like, yeah, it's like nobody wanted to be woken up anymore. It's like the Matrix 1. So we stopped giving people red pills. Because people would rather have that steak, know it's fake, but just be like, nah, ignorance is bliss. We're good here. Nobody wants to take the red pill anymore. Everybody is stuck in their own little nook. The Matrix is running wild. It's showing people, you know what? Fuck it, man. This is it. Don't worry about the real shit. Don't worry about that red pill. And everybody's like, you know what? I'd rather have this steak that's fake than to deal with the real shit. When that scene, I was like, ooh, it's like, okay. That's why the bots, like all of a sudden anybody could be an enemy. Like for real. Bro, people are so caught up in social media. People are so caught up in their phones. People are so caught up in all this other shit. The Matrix got them. They're a bot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So it fit with the times. That's why I wasn't mad at it. If you compared it to what the first one was, the second one was, you compared it movie to movie. Yeah, number 4 is probably down in those rungs. If you compare it to what it was and break it down, I was like, damn, like this, there's a meaning behind this. It's kind of Matrix 1-esque with the movie, with the deepness of it, but it just wasn't as flashy, and it had a more low budget effect to it. Like I admit that part.
And I think that right there was what definitely like disappointed me the most, because look at the technology that we have, where they probably didn't have to. They could have every location they didn't. So Star Wars, like the way that they film stuff now, like they're not even like on actual like desert stand and shit like that. Like a lot of that shit is like the background is all fake. It's just they use it to technology to kind of recreate a full scene, and they do an amazing job at that. Like, why couldn't? I know I'm pretty sure it's expensive. I'm sure of that, but like, I feel like they just didn't have enough money to do the film maybe like the way they really wanted to. I'm more of like a visual person, so I need that aesthetic, So I understand what you're saying, and you make a lot of good points, but it's just still like a visualization thing for me that I just did not hit home. Just didn't hit home.
As I was breaking it down, when just a view of what this world is right now, I was just like, they're kind of spot on.
And I think they could have. I'm sorry, my bad. Were you going to say something? All right. And I think they could have told a better story. I was watching, that guy that does the pitch meetings. Oh God, he fucking destroyed this movie. So, but he brought up a good point as far as like a better story would have been the story of the machines joining together, like their tension, their fight, and then some machines going on the human side, and then some staying on the machine side.
But they did that. The movie was based 40 years after the last Matrix. So it's hard to go to where you wanted to go. Like they touched on that.
But I don't think they touched on it enough.
the machines fought each other because people started waking up. More and more people started to, in the beginning, take the red pill. Because of that, the machines didn't have the battery life that it needed. So they went to civil war. The machines civil war with each other.
That would have been great.
When the machines, they showed a clip of it. When
it was a short clip.
It was a very short, but it was just something to get you up to date with what was going on. Because again, 40 years passed. So when the machines finally came to peace after the third one, machines got a chance to see what makes people tick. Some machines, and some of those machines ended up being a part of the humans, and they explain that. So can they have gone deeper into it? Yeah. But then you're talking about a completely different movie.
But it definitely would have added to, like, there's a lot of scenes that I think they could have just totally wiped out what they didn't need. They didn't need another Morpheus and Neo fight, which wasn't even like a fight. It was like a whatever, how long that took for that fight scene to kind of go through.
But they talked about what that scene was about. Because technically you couldn't throw that scene away, because that scene was for Neo, who was still thinking, am I crazy? Is this real? I'm not the real Neo. I just thought of a video game. And the program Morpheus was like, I have to wake it up out of him. And he kind of just slapped. It wasn't a fight scene. It was you remembering who you were. And, you know, again, if you're comparing it to the first Morpheus Neo karate scene, I know kung fu. If you're comparing it to that,
they did that. They set it up to make it look like it was that again. I didn't put that in my brain. They did that.
No, they made it seem identical. But it's on you to compare it entertainment wise. Was it as entertaining as that first fight? No. That shit was incredible.
But it wasn't even about the fight though. It was more about like that whole interaction as well. It was just like they could have done that in 5 minutes instead of the 10, 15 minutes that they devoted to that.
I see the reasoning why they did it. To wake Neo up and have him realize that he actually is Neo. And he wasn't coming to grips with it. So the fight scene took a little bit longer because Morpheus was just kicking the shit out of him until he remembered. So I understand why that scene was there. As far as it being a love story, Will, and not your cup of tea there, technically speaking, every single Matrix movie is based on a love scene, a love story between Neo and Trinity.
And Trinity, yeah.
Trinity.
So, but I don't know, for some reason it was more I mean, yeah, you're definitely right. But it was just more this time. Put it this way, they did it so well the other times. I kind of wasn't bothered by it. But this one, I was just like, it really was noticeable. I was just like, oh.
So, correct. So, all right. So I'm going to say this and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. It was the first Matrix. So each one elevated as far as it just being a love story. But it was more of the Matrix and what they were talking about, plus a love story, minus this one being a love story plus the Matrix shit behind it. Did that kind of summarize it?
That exactly makes sense. Yes.
Okay. I just took it for what it was. I know that, you know, they love each other. I know that it was a love story. Like I went in going, like, cause I saw what you saw. And part of me was going, this is the part that Will's going to hate. Like I was watching that going, I know Will's going to be mad at this part.
You know, and I thought that when
they don't like to beat it into us all the time. Like, how many times are gonna? We got so many like love songs, love movies, couple. You know, they're just beating a dead horse, beating it into our heads like so much. It's ridiculous.
The part where they take Neo out of the tank, and then you see like Trinity's like body like trying to like reach for him. I was like, Will, I thought Will right there. I was like, that's fucking bullshit.
But again, bullshit. And yes, it was cheesy. Yes. Yes. But it's explained. But it's explained though. Like, I'll give him that. like they explained everything. There was no, I don't understand this because they had an explanation for everything. Whereas it was just like in the Matrix in real life, them two motherfuckers are just linked. So yeah, like, okay, I get it. Like, was it cheesy? Yes. Like everything you say, everything you say, I agree with to a percentage because you're bringing up points. I just, again, like I dig a little deeper into what it was. Again, like when I said earlier, how people are just Matrix won. Yeah. This is the Matrix. That shit won.
Characters.
Yeah.
What a waste of like bringing back the Maravenchian again. Like they should have brought back the fucking twins.
Oh, the twins.
They were fucking dope.
Yeah.
And like the Maravenchi, he's just like in a fucking homeless thing, whatever. And he talks for like 5 seconds and then like, that's it. I feel like they should have maybe used this character more.
Again, not the greatest scene explained.
Yeah.
Like those were the old obsolete programs.
I get
so
that.
You know what? It kind of fits that he's this bum.
So why bring him back then? Why even introduce him like that? Bring him something brand new.
Because he's a pissed off. Yeah. He's a pissed off old obsolete program.
Yeah, but I think the Asian dude that was part of his group was one of the dudes that was in the last one. I think he was the one that had the glasses that he was fighting. One of the guys that he was fighting, like when he was in the staircase in that mansion spot, and he got stuck to the wall, and he knocked him out, and then he had like wake up again.
In number 2, we talk about the little.
Yeah, I think it was that. Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the explanation of the new Morpheus or a different version of Morpheus? Were you okay with that?
Made perfect sense, dude. Just make it make sense.
I'm not for or against it. I'm just asking like how you felt.
I wasn't mad.
I was okay with it.
So when they said Morpheus wasn't coming back, Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus, it made me go, I don't know.
But he kind of came back. He kind of came back in John Wick. So it was like I got that same Matrix vibe in John Wick.
If they explain it and it makes sense, I'm all for it. So it takes 40 years later, so it's hard to age Morpheus. 40 years later, he died because machines ended up, going back to war for whatever it was, and they killed him. So the fact that he made a Morpheus on the programmer because he's a hacker like that and made him into a program, it kind of made sense. I was upset that Lawrence Fishburne wasn't back, but when I see what they did, I was like, all right, I understand. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
And the guy that played him was pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right. He's a good, decent actor. I just feel bad. I don't think they even asked Lawrence Fishburne. Again, who am I? I don't know this stuff, but from what I read on the internet, I think that was the case. I see how they get. I'm sorry.
I was going to say for what they were going to make the story as, you kind of couldn't bring certain people back. He was one of them.
Yeah. But they have that deep fake technology where they could put his face on somebody else's and a younger bot. They could have done that. But again, that costs money. So, and it already looks like they weren't budgeted, a decent amount of money for that or whatever they were budgeted for.
Possibly overall that I was good with it. If it makes sense and it fits the narrative, I was okay with it. So I wasn't mad at it. As far as being a love story, it was what it was because they all were what they were. I agree with what Will was saying. It's more love story based and then Matrix on the back end of it as opposed to flip-flop with the other 3 movies. Even though I do think by the third one, it was a complete love story.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, third one was definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I think the first one, the most that they went about, the whole love story was him taking the bullet out of her stomach. That was the most impactful, lovey-dovey moment. Came
and he saw her falling and he made his choice to not reboot the Matrix and he went to save her. And, it was just them two, ride or die, which actually puts it into the fourth one, which makes it make sense. So it definitely could have been done better. I will say this, Will, you said something, and that's probably the reason I like the movie the most. The reason I actually put it as a 7.5, 7 is almost one scene. And that's when the analyst, Doogie Howser. Are we talking about the same one when they were at Trinity's job?
Yep.
And he's giving them that speech about what it is?
Yep.
I dug deeper into that. I replayed that scene a handful of times when it happened. Like I just went back and just saw that scene like 4 different times in one sitting. Like, okay, let me hear this. Let me see that scene again. All right, let me see that scene again. Maybe I missed something. And when he breaks it down, it made me go, wow. Like, that's why when I sent you guys a text, I'm like, this shit is talking to me based off of that scene.
Yep.
That scene made me send you guys a text going, this shit is talking to me.
So that's how I felt when in the first one, when he wants to go, when he goes to talk to the Oracle for the first time. That's how, like, how you're reacting is how, like, it react. Like, that's how I was, same way.
Know thyself.
Who? Yeah,
that was your shit based off of that movie and that thing. Yeah.
But even that whole scene, even the way she acted in that scene, that woman, she was a really good actress, man. It's a shame.
Yeah, and they explained that. They explained the Oracle. Like they
I thought they were gonna show her. I was like, oh, please show her. Please, please, please.
They kept everything in sync, but still made it its own movie. That's why I didn't compare it to the others like that, and I found joy in it. Will, that scene when Doogie's talking to Neo, and he's like, you know what we found out? The more fear and all the bullshit we bring, the more people fucking, that's what they want. And you just see this world and you're like, wow, oh shit, Doogie. Like, are you really the analyst? And when he was going, yo, we found out what it was, man. It's about feeling. When he said that, he goes, and whatever you guys conjure up in your mind. Like, that's what we found out about these humans. Whatever the mind wants, that's what it is. It goes back to the whole Think and Grow Rich. It goes back to the law of attraction, the movie The Secret, the book The Secret. He broke it down what it was. And I sit there like, I was sitting there like, whoa, dude, he's preaching right now.
Yeah, I was impressed.
The way
he delivered it too, I was like,
ooh.
Yeah.
He did an excellent job. Doogie did a great job.
So what's up? Where do you think they take it? You think they're going to do more, or this is it, or that's it?
From my understanding, that's it. They're just going to kind of end it like that. They said everybody said there's nothing in the works for another sequel to that or to continue the saga. And I kind of think, you know what? I'm more satisfied with this ending than I was with Keanu Jesus Reeves in The Matrix 3. It was still a good ending. Sacrificed himself. It set up for a new one, but kind of ended it. And now this one kind of does the same. It ends it, but it kind of holds on. If you're ready to do another one, okay, let's see where it goes. So there were parts of it, like I said, man, that part that I said, it talked to me. That was probably the reason why I like that movie as much as I do. And then the other things, like I said, with the bots and it being a snapshot on Hollywood, plus the world we live in, plus how social media and all the other things just have people hooked. So when I broke it down, I found it to be a good movie. Was it the greatest movie ever made? No. Was it better than the first one? No. Better than the second one? Probably not. Better than the third one? Debatable. So I wasn't mad with it. Was it super more low budget? Yes. Did it have not as much of a Matrix feel to it? Yeah. But times change, technology changes, and they changed with the times, and they explained it all. So it wasn't a bad movie to me.
But even within that, I mean, it just still looked you already just touched on it. Like, all right, fine. They're not going to have the same bullet time. They're not going to have all that. But even within that, it just looked cheap. It's shit that they try to pull off.
Agreed. You know, but they were revolutionary in what they did. Maybe the reason why it was so, this one felt more low budget because they invented what a lot of shit is now. And it's just like, all right, maybe it was low budget, or maybe they were just like, yeah, we kind of don't need to do that at this point because it's already been done. And that goes back to
I think at the same time, people were expecting that. Again, like back then, they created something nobody else has created. So this time around, we were expecting them to do something revolutionary again. I think, yeah.
Yeah, you could definitely. That's the vibe I can definitely give off, or I gave off.
And I think the special effects that they had were pretty damn good. What they used when they had it, I didn't see it as anything that was like super B movie. Like that shit looks fake as hell. Her hanging parallel.
That was a little, all right, I'll give you that one. It was just kind of stuck in the air. Like,
yeah, Neo. So honestly, if I saw a wire, I wouldn't have not been surprised. It was like, yo, are you really just gonna like let this go like that?
I don't know what it's like to go flying and then be stuck in the air flying. So I don't know how real that is or not, but you know, she was stuck in the air flying. Like, I don't know how you not make that look cheesy. Like, I don't know how you not make that not look fake.
She could have been like, all right, so come on,
just
man.
Because it looks weird. If somebody's flying and they're stuck in the air mid-flight,
so
like, I'm kind of thinking that's how it would look. Like, I don't know.
You wouldn't be like legs flat out. You would be like more like Superman-esque, like, you know, I'm just gonna hover in the air like straight up. You're not gonna like hoverboard or like boogie board in the fucking middle of the air for no reason.
How many times you got stuck in the air flying? I don't know.
Like she's about to catch a wave in the air, like waiting for the tide to come in, the wave.
I don't know what something's supposed to look like stuck mid-flight. So it could have been cheesy. It could have been like, hey, if I was stuck in the air mid-flight, maybe that's how it would look in the Superman pose, but not going anywhere.
Or I don't know. Maybe I'm too picky for visual shit like that, but
I don't think you're picky. I think you're doing what I said you were doing, which is comparing it to.
But no, it's not even. It's like, yo, like, why would you even let somebody hang that way when they're supposed to be mid-air? Like, if Superman is not flying, does he just like lay like he's like with stomach face down to the earth?
It depends. Is he trying to fly but can't?
Standing up. He's gonna be chilling standing up.
Okay, like but if you're trying to fly, as opposed to I'm just hovering, like that's hovering. If you're just kind of just standing straight up, looking at shit in midair, you're kind of just hovering. If you're trying to fly and you're stuck mid-flight, I'm kind of assuming you'd be laid out in the prone position, like I can't go anywhere. But again, I don't know. Like I don't see people stuck trying to fly, so I don't know what it's supposed to look like.
I'm gonna die on that hill. That was fucking horrible.
That's fair. It looked cheesy because a person was in the middle of the air. It's like somebody was pulling with a rope and the rope got stuck. Like I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I'm just my only counter to that would be, I guess if you're trying to fly and you're stuck in mid-flight, like if you're flying but you just want to stop and just chill, all right, you'd be in the stand-up position, just kind of in the air. If you're trying to get away from whatever the fuck you're trying to get away from and you're just stuck, I think you're just stuck. I don't know.
I saw better. What's the movie with I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of this movie, but with Benny the Jet and the kids with the baseball.
The Sandlot.
All right, Sandlot. When they were trying to go over the fucking fence and they had one of them hanging from the thing, that should look better than fucking Trinity hanging in the fucking.
Fair, man. I'm not saying it didn't look cheesy. I'm just saying, I'm just countering why it's looking cheesy to you as compared to how I see it. It definitely looks cheesy. I mean, somebody just stuck in the air. Like I said, it looks like somebody was pulling with a rope and the rope got stuck and they were just kind of just stuck in their position and had to stay like that. Yeah.
Go with the scene. Go. We're rolling.
But again, you're giving it 3 out of 10. Will's giving it 6.5, 6 out of 10 because of what he's giving it and how I saw it, how I broke it down. I'm giving it a 7 to a 7.5. Again, it could have been a way better, but for what it was, and what I took out of it. Because again, man, it's if you take it for face value and you compare it to the other ones, and you just take it as just a movie, you'll see the things in it, like you, Len, that just kind of make it not what you would like it to be. Again, I just kind of like to chip away at it. And if just something speaks to me, then I'll just go, wait, what the fuck was that? And then I'll go back and check it out again. And I'll be like, oh, that was kind of deep. I had those moments in the movie where I was like, oh, that was kind of deep. So for what I got out of it and what everybody else got something else different out of it. But from what it was, I would see it again.
If I see it
Actually,
again,
no, I take that back. I want to, what then? We were just talking about, I want to see the scene, the scene where he's in the elevator and he's like looking up and he sees everybody on their phones. There was something to that kind of spoke to me as well, which is obviously true. That's all we do.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you see, Neo, when they're talking about why they need to change the movie and what was prevalent now compared to when they first made the movie. And then they're cutting off these little side scenes of Neo just looking around at the world around him. And he just doesn't fit. He doesn't fit in that world because he's looking around at everybody on the phone and he's not on the phone. He sees the things that makes the Matrix, and he knows he's not a part of it. That's another thing that was kind of speaking to me. I'm not the dude, like I would be in the elevator looking at everybody else on their phone. So a lot of those things, I would say this, Len, try to watch it again. And I'm not saying anything. Just remember the things I was saying when you go into it. And maybe it resonates with you a little bit different. That you'd be like, oh, okay, oh, you know what? Maybe, because there's times I watch a movie, there's times I listen to a song, and not until the third or fourth time I hear it or see it that I go, oh shit, I get it. Or, oh, I missed that part. So I would say give it a shot like that. I try to get things nowadays. Entertainment is the least of my wanting when I'm looking at and listening to something. I just kind of want whatever lessons I can get. And I just kind of want anything that will make me think, or just anything that makes me go, huh. And, if it does it, then you have me. And to me, that did it to me a couple of times. So, but yeah, Will, that I'm telling you, man, that shit with Dukes, with Doogie Howser, not you, Dukes.
Actually, that's how
that was an amazing scene. Huh?
That's how I got to Dukes, because at football they were like everybody gets called by like their last name, so it was like Douglas, and they were like eventually got to Dougie, then it got to Doogie, and then I was like, yo, Len Doogie. So
Doogie,
yeah.
You are the analyst. And you know what? To go back with that whole movie. That, to me, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. There's definitely truth to what you're saying. So if it wasn't for that part, my scale, if it wasn't for that one part, my scale probably would have went from a 7 and a 7.5. Because I'm assuming yours would have dropped a little bit. If it wasn't for that,
mine would have dropped to Lens if it wasn't for that part.
If it wasn't for that part, I'd probably be in the 5.5 range. That part, like I said, man, like I text you guys and I was overly excited about the shit I saw and how I sent it to you. But that part is the reason I sent it to you.
You saw it before us, right? I think you were watching it before we did. So
yeah.
So you got me even more hyped. I was like, all right. Because I know how you get deep into movies too. Like we've gone deep into other movies as well. Like, so I'm like, all right, if he says this, I'm like, yo, this is probably gonna be fucking good.
And then I backtracked because I backtracked because I still got what I got out of it. But then I realized I know you guys. I know why you liked it, and I know why you liked it. And I know parts that you liked weren't in that movie. And I know the love story based, you weren't gonna like it. And I knew because again, I kind of knew you were going to compare it. Because there's a part of you that has to compare it.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, like these are stories based on a previous series or a previous set of movies. You know, so there has to be some kind of continuation of the previous into the new.
Agreed, and I think that I was able to compare it, but to an extent. I compared it that, okay, it was a Matrix movie. Like the things kept going. Like they didn't miss a beat. They explained everything and everything kind of just went seamlessly across. But that's where my comparison ended. Because I kind of was, I wasn't expecting, but I was. I thought it was going to be a little bit more low budget than I thought it was going to be what it was. I didn't think it was going to be this crazy. They can't get any more. What they did was revolutionary. If they're going to continue with that, it's hard to make it more revolutionary.
And I wonder how much COVID played into the whole fact of like how they had to do things. Maybe maybe they had some kind of grand fight scene planned, but like, you know what, for wherever they were, it wasn't sanctioned. Everybody had to be vaccinated, so you can only do it in this spot or whatever. Like maybe they were just limited on what they had to do, you know?
Could be. Right. Definitely the world we live in.
I would love to. I don't know if they'll ever confess or say any of that, but like I would love to know like how much of a factor like where we are or where we were in the world when they were filming it, like how much of a role did that play in the overall production and like overall finality of it.
Yeah, maybe one day, but I don't think really. I don't think there was, just from what I saw in the movie and just where it went. I kind of think that was the movie. Maybe it could have been more like, the locations maybe could have been different. Maybe the COVID affected that. Some of the locations, but I think the overall story was what it was. I feel like the story wasn't that bad. A lot of it could have been better, but the parts that resonated with me, it made it an enjoyable movie for me. And I was able to not go, well, that scene wasn't as good as the scene in this over here. Like I just kind of took it for face value. And like I said, the things that talked to me made me go, oh, okay. And for where we live in right now and how the movie kind of coincides with that and some of the things that they were saying, the little hidden messages, I liked it. So anybody else have anything that they want to say about that movie? So yeah, I would say this, Len, you get some downtime, give it another quick little shot.
If I get some downtime, I'll go to sleep. I'm not watching that.
Fair enough.
Honestly, I'm joking around. That scene that you mentioned, I want to watch it because of how much you guys, how much it spoke to both of you guys. So I will watch that scene again. But other than that, I have no motivation. Like I'm not going to shut this thing off right now and go watch it, like that kind of deal. But eventually, I will sit down and watch that scene again. Because I remember watching it, I was like, at that point, I was already pretty much like done with the movie. Because that was like maybe like what 30 minutes in. I think that scene eventually came up, right?
30, 45 minutes, yeah,
something like that. There. And how everything was going towards that point, I was ready. Like, oh man, I made a list. I forgot where I had the piece of paper, like all the shit that was fucking bugging me. But so at that point, I was already like done with the movie, but I wanted to finish it, like hoping that it will be like change for me. So again, like I said, I'll go back and watch that scene again.
By that time, I was still into it because the other scene that grabbed me was again when they went back to New Zion. Sorry, don't remember the name of it, but
John Morant, they call it.
Yeah, when they went to New Zion, John Morant. Nice. When they went to New Zion, and they were just talking about how the times changed since the last movie, because that's what it was. It was kind of an update on what the times are from the last movie. And by the end of the first Matrix, people wanted to be woke. People, let me get the red pill, man. I want to see what life is really about in the real world. People were more and more starting to get woke and trying to see through the bullshit, because that movie kind of showed you that, there's some bullshit, but the Matrix got, is covering your eyes with it. And that movie kind of started its own revolution of people trying to be woke. Now you come into this version, and it's like, yeah, people don't want to be woke. People are quite comfortable in their bullshit. And oh, the new phone's out. The new this is out. Oh, it's the meta world. And, you know, I need likes and I need to see the Instagram and TikTok and all this other stuff. And you just kind of see, like, yeah, people are just like, nah, I'll take that blue pill, please.
So what did you think about, my bad, were you going to finish something else?
Well, I'm just going to say that scene had me, like, there were certain things that held me. It wasn't the movie itself. It was just little parts carried me into the rest of the next part. And then that part would hold me and I would just catch something. And I'd be like, oh, okay, and I'll catch something. So it was a bunch of little moments that caught me, that held me, that I was focused on the movie throughout the whole movie.
What did you think about Jada Pinkett?
I
feel like they oh, I'm sorry, I asked you a question you should be able to answer.
No. Go continue what you were gonna say.
I was gonna say, I feel like they even like her aging, whatever they use for like to age her, it was just like she bought that like in the $99 store, on the 99-cent store, whatever that shit is, and they just kind of like made up her. It just
Family
looked,
Dollar. Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. It looked like they bought the shit from like Family Dollar, and all she did was like, I'm a little older now. I gotta talk like this. I mean, I don't know how you make someone old. Maybe I'm probably like nitpicking, but I felt like she sounded exactly like the character that she plays in Star Wars, the Maz Katana, you know, the chick that she did the voiceover for with the big bug eyes in the motion. Yeah.
I didn't see a problem with it. They kept the character from 40 years ago. This is what she looks like. You're in a place that you're basically living in a fucking gigantic cave, like a city cave. Like, you know, they just learned how to make strawberries. How would you look 40 years? She looked as raggedy and torn up as I figured she would look.
Yo,
just made strawberries.
You got the funny award for the year. It's not even September. I mean, February yet. It's only January. It's mid-January, and you fucking won for the year. He said they just learned how to make strawberries.
But that's what I'm saying. You know how rough and rugged they were looking on number 3? But everybody was just barefoot in the cave, dancing around, probably stinking like all kind of funk.
That shit looked lit in 3. That fucking club, that club scene, the part where they're fucking dancing, jamming out, that was a club I would have loved to gone to. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, you know how funky that club must have been.
Give me the Airbnb to that Zion, because I'll fucking for that week, that night.
Because I don't know, man. I maybe I'm just taking it.
And everybody had hops in that shit too. Everybody was something that's like jumping mad high. I'm like, yo, I could probably dunk in that fucking Zion gym.
Fucking DJ playing Jump Around by House of Pain.
Everybody jumping up, doing the dolphin in the air.
The dolphin.
The fucking Zion dolphin. That's the new move. For making Jada Pinkett into an old person and just a war-torn veteran that's seen some shit in her life, you know, just being what she was 40 years later, like, I wasn't that mad at it. All right, I was just curious. That kind of bugged me.
A lot of things bugged you in that movie.
Yeah. See, now I want to watch it again to kind of pick up more stuff, but then I don't know if I want to go through that again. But I will watch that scene, like I said.
Fair enough, man. Like I said, there were multiple scenes that I just had me. That I would be like, ooh, like, okay, that one was kind of deep. I think kind of like the first trilogy, of the Matrix, like there was deepness there if you found it. I think the Matrix just kind of, the first 3 were kind of more in your face about the deepness. You had to break it down, but when you broke it down, it wasn't that hard to find. I think this one, the deep shit, you just kind of had to catch, like the Doogie Howser talk. Because if you're just listening to it, it just sounds like some Matrix evil guy talk. But I heard it in a way that Will heard it. that made me go, ooh, like Doogie is preaching right now. Like, fuck.
Yep.
Again, enough to make me, once that scene was over, I was like, nah, I need to hear that scene again. And once it was over, I'm like, nah, I think I need to hear that scene again. And I listened to that scene like 3-4 times in a row. And I was just like, that was the shit. That made me, out of all the parts that just held me to the next part, that one part held me for the rest of the movie.
Do you feel like there should have been more beef or more interaction between Neo and the new version of Smith?
I like the guy who played Smith. I think he did a good job. To me, he was there. I wasn't mad he was there for nostalgia's sake. He kind of didn't mean anything to the story.
Yeah.
Like to me, they kind of just brought him in as it's Agent Smith.
Yeah.
And to hear him talk like Agent Smith, it brought a smile to my face. I was like, shit, it's Agent Smith. But they forced him in, I guess would be the best way to put it. They made him why he was relevant. They made it why he was relevant near the end. But even then, he was just like,
yeah.
When they first met, he was like, all right, I'm here to kill you because I need to move on with my life and blah, 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 blah. By the second time they interacted, it was like, we may have some common interests. So I'm not going to fight with you right now. And it's actually, all right, well, I won't fuck with you. You won't fuck with me. By the third time that they were together, it was just like, well, the alliance is over. So next time I see you, it's going to be some other shit. So they kind of had to have him to like fill in this role that just kind of looks like they made it for him just because they wanted him there. But for what he was, I wasn't mad at it. For nostalgia's sake, I was actually, I was okay with it. Probably one of my least things on my if I had to tier it, best to most entertaining to least entertaining, it'd be middle or below, as far as like, Mr. Smith, Agent Smith.
Yeah.
See, it's all coming back to you. What else did you hate about it, Lance?
Yo, the beginning scene, the beginning credits, how they were like, how the screen was like black before they started rolling the shit. I hated that from the beginning. Nah.
Tell them why you mad, son. Tell them why you mad.
Yo, the fonts they use.
I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad.
The fonts that they used when they were just going at the end credits was just, what the fuck are they doing?
Even the fonts didn't have the Matrixy feel to it. Like, all right. So in the pitch meeting, the thing that one of the guy that does it, he brought up a point as far as like, so the guy that is supposed to be like Neo's like friend.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be designed to keep him away from Trinity, right?
To keep him away from Trinity and to keep him focused on the world that he's in.
So why when they were in the coffee shop, he's like, matter of fact, not go talk to, he went and initiated the whole conversation between like, what the fuck are you doing?
I have an answer to that.
I have no fucking idea.
So he was a bot and he was there to keep Neo in check.
Right.
Also, there are things that were the bots were Trinity's family, her husband, her kids. Like they were just bots. Like they weren't real. They were just there to keep her in check.
Right.
So I guess the game plan, because Neo kept going, like he kept looking at her and he kept, saying and doing all these things that made it go like, shit, he kind of knows something. So it's like, yo, I'm going to introduce you. And then they introduce him and it's like, oh, what's up? I'm Thomas Anderson, blah, blah, blah. She goes, I'm Tiffany. And they start to get that connection. But then guess what? Boom, the husband and the kids show up. If you noticed, the husband and kids are always there to cop block Neo. They always happen to show up when they start interacting. So the bots are there. So it's like, all right, I'm going to introduce you to her. And then boom, here comes your life ruining moment when the husband and kids come in. So it could have been that.
But why even risk the connection I'm sure the Matrix or the what do you call it, the architect knows, like, the connection they have. Why even risk crossing paths?
Because if you're
why were they even in the same city? What the fuck? Like, why can't they be like in another world somewhere or another city somewhere?
I would say.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I would say this: if you're feeling a girl, right? If you, Len, are feeling this chick, and you happen to see her every day,
go to Buffalo, what?
And oh boy,
I was in the fucking Matrix, all right. I was in the Matrix, all right?
Why don't we get into that story? I told you, bro. I told you about
that shit.
I told you about Maury Povich DNA test. I told you about chicks that done broke me 17,000 times. And there's that Buffalo story just there.
I was year one of the Matrix, man.
All right, but hold on. I digress.
Anyway, I was joking, but go ahead, please finish your point.
I think I know where Paul is going with it.
To be continued. Continued. If you're feeling a girl, if I'm feeling a girl, you're not there. So, but let's pretend that you're feeling this girl.
I'm not.
Let's pretend.
Saruda, I don't know.
if you're feeling this chick that you see every day and you are like, I am digging this chick, and then you finally get to go talk to her, you muster up the energy, or your boy's like, yo, I'm gonna make this happen. And you guys link up and you start to communicate, and her husband and 2 kids walk in. You're going to be like, you know what? All right, whatever. Right.
Yep.
So again, that could be it. There's a rhyme and reason for everything. Like, they made these bots that your sole purpose on this world is to keep these motherfuckers in check.
Not according to LL Cool J. Because Hey Lover, he's like, yo, I keep my feelings all inside until another time or some shit like that.
But, in true love story form, you can't keep that apart. Like, they tried. Again, like the husband and kids, didn't matter if it was during school, during when this dude's supposed to be working. It didn't matter no matter what.
Like, yo, send those bots over there, man.
Husband and kids are there.
Bot me up. Bot this nigga up.
Even at the end.
Bot block.
Yo, why you bot blocking me, son?
Bop. They don't even, because they just fucking fall out of the sky and just like.
Even at the end, it's like 11 o'clock at night, and they're linking up, and it's a room full of cops, and out of the blue, the husband and 2 kids come walking in like, it's like 2 a.m. It's supposed to be, oh, Bobby got hit by a car. Like, it's just, it was
straight botting me.
Straight bot blocking me, man.
Oh man, need a fucking bot blocker and like an ad blocker program.
They had everybody to keep him in line. Doogie Howser was the analyst. He was the replacement for the architect. Mm. And they went into that. All those old obsolete things got purged, man. Well, this is the new 0.0, like 1.0, 2.0 version of this.
Yeah, so he said something like that.
Kept him in check. He was a psychiatrist. Here, man, keep taking these blue pills. You prescribe blue pills. And we don't use crazy. And oh, you thought Morpheus came to get you, and you're not crazy. You're just, you had this illusion. You're caught up between the world you made and the real world that you live in. So, to me, it all fit, man. Like, it just made sense, especially when movies nowadays don't make sense. There was dialogue, and the dialogue to me says something that would make me go, ooh, whereas a lot of dialogues don't even exist. It's just...
I definitely miss that, man. I miss movies that fucking have great dialogue, man. Great dialogue. Scene for scene, just like, fuck. Like, who the hell is fucking thinking of these shits? Like, damn.
And again, they make fun of that when they're having the pitch meeting. They're like, yo, nobody wants to be all this or that. They want shootouts and bullet time and fast and furious pace. That's what they want. People will just want this shit that's quick to the point, flashy, boom, bang, loud, music, explosions, gunfire, bullet time. All movies are like that now. there's really no deep, meaningful anything. So that's the part that made me go, it's kind of cheesy, but it makes sense why they're doing it. They made fun of Hollywood. They made fun of their own shit. They made fun of the generation we live in based off of what it was. So, you know, they got and because of that, they got to fit the nostalgia part to it, and they got to relive a lot of the first trilogies. The first trilogy they got to relive. It was so cleverly done that people were going, that shit was whack. But when you start to peel the layers off of it, I was like, wow, that's some clever shit they just did. And that shit got railroaded. People hated that shit. A lot of people weren't happy with it. But I think a lot of people were, comparing it to the first ones and not just taking it as The Matrix 4. It's its own movie. If you compare every Nas album he does to fucking Illmatic where it was written, you're going to be disappointed.
Actually, his last three is the shit that he did with Hit Boy.
Yeah.
Yo.
I heard it. Magic.
Yeah.
It was great.
Great.
But there's a lot of that, you know, oh, it's not Illmatic. But it wasn't Reasonable Doubt. But it wasn't like, yeah, why are you comparing? Like, it's still the same whatever, but it's a different shit, man. The Matrix is like 25 years old.
Damn.
I know it doesn't feel like that, man. It does not feel like that, but it is.
Crazy.
Like 20 years old.
As soon as they were showing like the flashbacks of like how young they looked, and it's like, wow. One of the best parts though is definitely to see those characters again, like Neo and Trinity on screen together. That was dope.
I enjoyed it. They updated it, much like technology. They updated the Matrix. They updated it to the world we live in. Again, the dialogue part, like, that shit was legit to me. So yeah, I wasn't mad. I hope I end up helping you go up one on your rating. Hope you make it a 4 and you make it a 7. But those little parts, I look, man. Like I said, we all get certain things out of things, and what I see may not be what you see, may not be what we'll see.
Totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what this is. Like, you know.
Great. That's great. We all be able to like take whatever we want to take from anything and apply it or not apply it, whatever the case may be, and make it, you know, it's subjective, basically, you know.
If you find a fucking life lesson, or if you find something from SpongeBob that makes you go, wow, that was pretty deep, then, you know, that's what you got out of it. So
exactly.
I just like to, where I'm at, you know, the things I believe, the things I'm trying to rediscover, you know, where I'm at in life. It was a great, they say there are no coincidences, you know, where I'm at in life in that movie and the things I got out of it. It to a point, man. Like I said, that movie talked to me. It may have sounded like a bunch of Charlie Brown talk to you.
No, I mean, I agree with every point that you brought up, but I see like your thinking. I could see, like, appreciate your deep dive into it. Again, like we've deep dive on movies like before. So this is just one that we just don't see eye to eye on. That's all.
Yeah, no doubt. But, you know, hopefully I say something and you're like, you know, and then me and Will talking about that Doogie Howser scene, and you're like, yo, you know what? I got to recheck that scene.
It does. It did, I should say.
I would say recheck the parts that have dialogue. Usually it's like, nah, just go to the fighting scenes. I would say if you're not happy with, that's what I'm saying. You're not happy with the fighting scenes, and I understand why. Like, I get it. But I would say find the parts where they're having one-on-one conversations or they're just talking about things, and maybe you'll find a couple of things that you didn't hear the last time.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah. So on that note, Mr. William, looks like he has a photo shoot he has to go attend. So we're going to let you do your thing. For Mr. William Lendoogs, I am Paul. New year, new us. Man, I guess we'll talk about it next time. I guess we'll talk about resolutions and shit next time, because, you know, whatever with that. We'll talk about that. That might be the next one we talk about. But yeah, so for you guys, thank you. Everybody out there listening, thank you. Appreciate it. We're back. And be better. So have a good one, everybody. Peace.
Americans! Back from Jamaica! Can't see the Matrix again!
Take the red pill, Len.
We'll see. All right, y'all.
Bye.